Alright, students, we're going to start off. First thing, when we want to do prime factorization, you're going to break it down into the numbers that it divides into. It doesn't matter which numbers you start with. You'll notice I broke down 3 and 33. If you started 9 and 11, not important. It'll all break down to the same prime factors. So we have 3 times 3 times 11. That's prime factors. So I'm going to go 6 and 10, 2 and 5, 2 and 3. So I have 2 2s, 1 3, and 1 5. 93 breaks down into 31 and 3. That's all it breaks down into. And then 254 looks like it's going to be prime. On to the next part. You'll notice right here we're giving you a comma, alright, and not a plus sign. So I just want the GCF at this point. Not going to have to give the remaining quantities. So what goes into 12 and 44? 4 does, lowest value of x, lowest exponential value of y, and we're finished. 88 and 121 is 11. Goes into 10, 25 is 5, x squared, y squared. From here, none of the numbers match. They don't all have a. They all have at least one b, and not all of them have c. B is going to be our only common factor. Now on 9 and 10, you'll notice they have a plus sign on these two. So when you factor out the greatest common factor, you're going to have to tell me what's left after you factor it out. So on this one, they both have a 5. They don't have the same variable, so we can't factor out a variable here. You divide by 5, and that's what goes back in. So whatever your common factor was, you divide by that number, and then place it back. You'll notice if I distribute this 5, I get back my original quantity, which means I've done it accurately. Number 10, I can factor out a 6x. That leaves me x plus 7. Number 11, I can factor out a 3, an x cubed, and a y cubed. Those are the smallest exponential values of those variables. And from there, you just say what's left. Y squared is left here. 8x is there. And minus 7x cubed y. And that's going to be it. Number 12. We do number 12. 7 will go into all of these numbers. We'll get a p squared and a p cubed. That will leave us with 4. Minus 3pq minus 5p squared q squared. Over here, you want to factor out what's in common first, then if you need to, go further. So when we look at number 13, what do they have in common? They've got a 4x in common, and then an x minus 1, 2x minus 1 rather. The 4x could be 0, or the 2x minus 1 could be 0. In this case, x would be 1/2. In this case, x would be, of course, 0. Right here, we've got to adjust our equation. We want all of our numbers on one side, so I'm going to subtract that 50y to the other side. I'm going to divide out a 5y. That gives me y minus 10. And then 5y could be 0, in which case y is 0. And then y minus 10 could be 0, in which case y would be positive 10. Looking down here at number 15, see if I can move that. There we go. Number 15, you're going to take and factor out what's in common after we've moved those numbers to the other side. 21h squared minus 7h is equal to 0. Divide out a 7 from both, divide out an h from both, and I get 3h minus 1 is equal to 0. Here are my two quantities. So either 7h is equal to 0. This actually goes right here. Let me take that off so it doesn't bother me. Alright, so either 7h is equal to 0, or 3h minus 1 is equal to 0. In this case, h could be 0 from this one, or add the 1, divide by 3, h could be positive 1 over 3. Our last one, they have a 14k in common, so we'll divide that out. We'll get a k minus 2. So either k could be 0, from 14k equals 0 divided by 14, or k minus 2 could be 0, so add the 2 to the other side, k could be 2. So we have k equal 2, or 0. And that's the first page. Remember, always factor out what's in common first, and then see if you can do anything else.